Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. In 1947, something crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. Was it a weather balloon? Or something not of this world? The chilling mystery of Roswell began with a dramatic incident that has since ignited global fascination with UFOs and government secrecy. Archival footage and eerie music set the stage, transporting us back to that fateful moment when strange debris was recovered from the New Mexico desert. The official explanation given by the U.S. military was that it was merely a weather balloon. But as details emerged over the years, questions began to multiply. Soon after the incident, local witnesses reported seeing unusual wreckage that defied easy explanation. Some described materials that seemed to shimmer or bend light in ways no earthly metal should, while others spoke of figures that were not quite human. Major Jesse Marcel, one of the first responders on the scene, later claimed that what he handled was not from this earth. His statements added fuel to an already blazing fire of speculation and conspiracy theories, leading many to believe that something far more extraordinary had taken place. As the Cold War escalated, so did the interest in unidentified aerial phenomena. For decades, sightings of mysterious objects were often dismissed as misidentifications of natural phenomena or secret military projects. However, the enduring enigma of Roswell persisted, capturing the imaginations of both skeptics and true believers alike. The incident became a symbol of the broader question of what governments might be hiding, sparking debates that would stretch well into the latter half of the 20th century and beyond. In the 1990s, the U.S. Air Force revisited the Roswell case, releasing a report that attributed the debris to Project Mogul, a top-secret program using high-altitude balloons to detect Soviet nuclear tests. While this explanation seemed to close the chapter for some, it only deepened the mystery for others. The ever-changing narrative, with shifting details and evolving explanations, has led many to suspect that there is still much more beneath the surface than what has been officially disclosed. In more recent years, renewed interest in UFOs has been accompanied by a series of modern disclosures. Pentagon reports, declassified documents, and testimony from whistleblowers have all contributed to a resurgence in public curiosity about unidentified aerial phenomena. Videos released by the government, showing objects moving in ways that defy conventional physics, have added a contemporary dimension to the long-standing debate over extraterrestrial visitation. These modern developments have not only reopened discussions about Roswell, but have also broadened the scope of inquiry into what else might be hidden from public view. Culturally, the legacy of the Roswell incident is undeniable. It has inspired countless movies, television shows, and books, embedding itself deeply into the fabric of popular culture. Tourists now flock to the small town in New Mexico, and annual festivals celebrate the mystery, keeping the legends alive for new generations. Whether viewed as a tragic cover-up, a case of mistaken identity, or a genuine extraterrestrial encounter, Roswell continues to be a touchstone in the ongoing dialogue about life beyond our planet and the secrets that governments might be keeping. Today, as we sift through decades of declassified files, personal testimonies, and controversial reports, the mystery of Roswell remains as captivating as ever. The incident serves as a reminder that sometimes the truth is obscured by layers of official narratives and hidden agendas. While some aspects of the case have been explained, many questions persist. Has the truth been buried under bureaucratic red tape? Or is there an even more enigmatic story waiting to be uncovered? With every new piece of evidence and every leaked document, the quest for the truth continues to inspire and challenge us, urging a closer look at what may lie beyond our understanding. The Roswell Incident, a discovery that sparked decades of speculation in the summer of 1947. Just 2 years after the end of World War II, the United States found itself in the midst of rising geopolitical tensions and rapid technological advancements. Against this backdrop, an event unfolded in the remote desert of New Mexico that would captivate the public imagination for generations. The Roswell Incident, as it came to be known, began with an unassuming discovery by local rancher W. Mac Brazel, but it quickly spiraled into one of the most controversial and enduring UFO-related mysteries in history. Roswell in 1947, a military hub in a changing world. The location of the incident was Roswell Army Airfield, RAF, a key military installation at the time. This was no ordinary base, It was home to the 509th Bombardment Group, the only unit in the world at that time equipped with nuclear weapons, having dropped the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki just 2 years earlier. The Cold War had begun, and the U.S. military was on high alert for any signs of Soviet activity or advanced aerial threats. The development of jet aircraft, guided missiles, and experimental technologies meant that the military was constantly testing new equipment, while also monitoring the skies for foreign incursions. This climate of secrecy, coupled with the cutting-edge research taking place at locations like Los Alamos National Laboratory and White Sands Missile Range, set the stage for an atmosphere where an unusual discovery could easily be misinterpreted or deliberately covered up. Mac Brazel's unusual find. The first clues of mystery on, or around July 2, 1947, following a powerful nighttime storm, Mac Brazel, a rancher who lived about 75 miles northwest of Roswell, stumbled upon an unusual debris field while tending to his sheep. The scattered wreckage was unlike anything he had encountered before. Unusual metallic fragments. Some of the pieces were described as thin, lightweight, and extremely durable, unlike conventional aircraft materials. Memory metal? Some witnesses later claimed the material had strange properties, including the ability to return to its original shape when crumpled, leading to speculation about an unknown memory metal alloy. Strange markings. Certain fragments allegedly bore hieroglyphic-like symbols, which some later speculated could indicate extraterrestrial origins. No conventional components. Brazel found no recognizable parts of an aircraft, such as an engine, fuselage, or cockpit, which made the wreckage even more mysterious. The military's involvement, initial reports, and confusion. After collecting some of the debris, Brazel traveled to Roswell and reported his discovery to Sheriff George Wilcox, who in turn contacted the Roswell Army Airfield. The military quickly took an interest, and Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer at RAAF, was sent to investigate the site. Marcel and his team collected the debris and transported it back to the base, where officers examined it in detail. What happened next fueled the controversy. The first press release, July 8, 1947, the Roswell Army Airfield's public information officer issued a shocking statement. They had recovered a flying disc. This immediately caught the attention of the media, as reports of flying saucers had already begun circulating across the country in the wake of pilot Kenneth Arnold's famous sighting of unidentified flying objects in Washington state just weeks earlier. The sudden retraction. Within hours, the military reversed its statement, claiming instead that the debris was from a downed weather balloon. The wreckage was quickly transported to Fort Worth Army Airfield, where General Roger Ramey posed for photographs with pieces of foil-like material, which he stated was from a standard meteorological balloon. Public confusion and growing suspicion. The sudden shift in the official story led many to suspect a cover-up. Major Marcel later expressed doubts about the weather balloon explanation, insisting that the material he had handled was unlike anything he had ever seen before. What really crashed at Roswell? Competing theories over the decades, theories about what really happened at Roswell have multiplied, falling into three main categories. The official explanation, a secret military balloon, Project Mogul. In 1994, the U.S. Air Force released a report concluding that the Roswell debris was not a weather balloon, but part of a highly classified project called Project Mogul. Project Mogul was an effort to use high-altitude balloons equipped with sensitive microphones to detect Soviet nuclear tests by listening for sound waves traveling through the upper atmosphere. These balloons carried long trains of radar reflectors, aluminum foil, and other unusual materials, which might explain the strange properties described by witnesses. The secrecy surrounding the project could explain why the military initially mishandled the press release and later backtracked. While this explanation aligns with many of the known facts, some skeptics argue that it does not account for all the reported anomalies, particularly the claims about strange symbols and memory metal. The UFO and extraterrestrial hypothesis aside, belief that an alien craft crashed at Roswell remains one of the most popular interpretations of the event. Supporters of this theory argue that the military's rapid response and secrecy suggest something highly unusual was recovered. Multiple eyewitnesses, including former military personnel, later claimed they saw bodies of extraterrestrial beings at a second crash site. The government's shifting explanations over the years only deepened suspicions of a massive cover-up. Some of the most dramatic claims came in the 1980s and 1990s, when new witnesses came forward, asserting that the U.S. military had recovered alien bodies and transported them to locations such as Wright-Patterson Air Force Base or the infamous Area 51.3. The alternative conspiracies, experimental aircraft or psychological operations. Other theories suggest that what crashed at Roswell might have been a top-secret experimental aircraft or drone, possibly developed using captured Nazi technology from Operation Paperclip. Another hypothesis proposes that the entire Roswell event was part of a psychological operation, SWIOP, designed to test public reactions to staged alien encounters, possibly as part of early Cold War psychological warfare. The enduring legacy of Roswell. Regardless of what actually happened, the Roswell Incident remains one of the most enduring and debated events in modern history. It sparked a cultural fascination with UFOs, government secrecy, and the possibility of extraterrestrial contact. It helped lay the foundation for modern UFO mythology, inspiring movies, TV shows, and conspiracy theories. It led to increased scrutiny of government programs, contributing to the later push for UFO disclosure. It remains a symbol of Cold War paranoia, secrecy, and the limits of official explanations. Today, Roswell, New Mexico has embraced its legacy, transforming into a hub for UFO tourism with museums, festivals, and research conferences dedicated to uncovering the truth. Meanwhile, classified government programs and declassified UFO reports continue to fuel speculation that there is more to the Roswell story than we have been told. The true nature of the Roswell crash may never be fully known, but its impact on American culture and the ongoing search for extraterrestrial life is undeniable. Roswell's breaking news, the announcement that shook the nation. By early July 1947, reports of unidentified flying objects, UFOs, were making national headlines across the United States. In the weeks leading up to the Roswell incident, pilots and civilians alike had reported sightings of strange, fast-moving objects in the sky, fueled by the now famous Kenneth Arnold sighting on June 24, 1947, where he described saucer-like objects flying at incredible speeds over Washington state. Against this backdrop of heightened public interest, Mac Brazel's discovery of unusual debris in the remote desert of New Mexico took on a significance far beyond a simple crash. By July 7, 1947, the military had retrieved the wreckage, and within 24 hours, an event occurred that would ignite one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century. The U.S. Army issued an official statement declaring that they had recovered a flying disc. The U.S. Army's astonishing announcement, July 8, 1947. The official statement, released by Lt. Walter Haut, the public information officer at Roswell Army Airfield, RAAF, read, "The many rumors regarding the flying disc became a reality. Yesterday, when the intelligence office of the 509th Bomb Group of the 8th Air Force, Roswell Army Airfield, was fortunate enough to gain possession of a disc through the cooperation of one of the local ranchers and the sheriff's office of Chaves County." The statement further claimed that Major Jesse Marcel, an intelligence officer, had examined the wreckage and that it was being transported to higher military authorities for further investigation. The implications of this announcement were enormous. The phrase flying disc immediately sparked public speculation, as it suggested something beyond a conventional aircraft, perhaps something truly unknown. The immediate public reaction, a surge of speculation. The birth of the extraterrestrial theory. The timing of the announcement, coupled with recent UFO sightings across the country, led many to immediately conclude that an extraterrestrial craft had crashed. The idea that an alien spaceship had been recovered by the U.S. military took hold, spreading through newspapers, radio broadcasts, and conversations across the nation. In a post-World War II America, where technological advancements were progressing at an unprecedented pace, the idea of visitors from another world did not seem as far-fetched as it might have a decade earlier. The explosion of rocket technology, the emerging Cold War, and Hollywood's growing fascination with science fiction all contributed to a cultural landscape ripe for UFO speculation. 2. Roswell residents. Excitement and military presence locals. In Roswell, a small and relatively quiet town suddenly found themselves at the center of a global mystery. Curious residents and reporters gathered near Roswell Army Airfield, eager to catch a glimpse of the wreckage or hear updates. Some locals later reported seeing military convoys transporting debris under heavy guard, further fueling rumors that something extraordinary had been discovered. There were also whispers that strange bodies had been found near the crash site, though these claims would only emerge in later decades. The media-frenzy newspapers across the country picked up the story, with headlines such as, "RAAF captures," "Flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region," Roswell Daily Record, July 8, 1947. "Army reveals it has flying disc," Los Angeles Herald Express. "Flying disc recovered in New Mexico," San Francisco Examiner. The language in these reports suggested that something far more than a weather balloon or conventional aircraft had been found. The term flying disc became synonymous with flying saucers and UFOs, adding to the mystique. The military's sudden reversal. The cover-up begins. By the evening of July 8, 1947, just hours after the initial announcement, the military abruptly changed its story. A second statement was issued, claiming that the recovered wreckage was simply a weather balloon, nothing extraordinary and certainly not a flying disc or extraterrestrial craft. The new explanation came directly from Brigadier General Roger Ramey, the commanding officer of the 8th Air Force in Fort Worth, Texas. To reinforce this claim, Ramey held a press conference where he posed for photographs with the alleged debris, showing nothing more than foil-like material, wooden sticks, and rubber remnants. The retraction was swift, direct, and absolute. The Roswell wreckage was nothing but a misidentified balloon, and the excitement was the result of miscommunication. Why did the military reverse its story? Theories. An analysis: legitimate misunderstanding or military secrecy. Some believe the initial flying disc claim was simply an error, made in the rush to issue a press release. The retraction, in this view, was merely a correction of the mistake. However, skeptics argue that the military's rapid reversal and tight control of the situation suggest a deliberate cover-up. The Cold War context: a need for secrecy. The U.S. military was engaged in top-secret projects during this period, including Project Mogul, a classified program using high-altitude balloons to detect Soviet nuclear tests. If the Roswell wreckage was related to Project Mogul, it would make sense for the military to conceal its true purpose to prevent Soviet espionage. A UFO cover-up? Some researchers and former military officials insist that the weather balloon explanation was a deliberate lie to suppress public knowledge of an extraterrestrial event. Witnesses who came forward years later, including Major Jesse Marcel himself, claimed that the material they handled was far more advanced than any weather balloon components. The lasting impact. How Roswell became the ultimate UFO mystery. The conflicting statements, rapid military intervention, and destruction of key records have left the Roswell incident shrouded in secrecy and speculation for over 75 years. 1950s, 1970s, interest in UFOs grew, but Roswell largely faded into obscurity. 1980s, UFO researchers and former military personnel began speaking out, reviving Roswell as a major UFO event. 1990s, the U.S. government declassified documents about Project Mogul, claiming this was the real source of the Roswell debris. 2000s present. Ongoing debates, new whistleblower accounts, and government acknowledgement of UFO research have kept the Roswell mystery alive. Despite decades of investigations, no definitive proof has emerged to confirm or debunk the extraterrestrial theory. The Roswell incident remains the most famous UFO case in history, symbolizing both government secrecy and the enduring human curiosity about life beyond Earth. However, this initial report was short-lived. In a dramatic turn of events, mere hours after the sensational disclosure, the military retracted its statement. The new explanation was starkly different. The debris was identified as remnants of a weather balloon. This rapid reversal left the public reeling and sowed the seeds of lasting mistrust. The abrupt change raised questions about the true nature of what had been discovered and whether the government was deliberately concealing something far more extraordinary than a simple meteorological device. This early chapter of the Roswell saga set the tone for what would become one of the most controversial and enduring mysteries in modern history, a tale of conflicting reports, government secrecy, and the possibility that we might not be alone in the universe. Local accounts and military testimonies soon added layers of complexity to the unfolding story. Residents of Roswell recalled witnessing odd behaviors and strange occurrences around the time of the crash, with some claiming that military vehicles and personnel arrived in an unusually secretive manner. These first-hand recollections painted a picture of confusion and a palpable sense of urgency, as if those on the scene knew they were witnessing something far beyond the routine recovery of a lost weather balloon. At the same time, several military personnel who were involved in the recovery process offered conflicting statements. Initial excitement gave way to a swift, almost hasty, official explanation that sought to quell the mounting speculation. The public was told that a flying disc had been recovered, only to be quickly reassured that it was merely a piece of a weather balloon. This rapid pivot in narrative fueled suspicions that the true nature of the debris was being deliberately concealed. Adding to the intrigue, declassified documents later revealed details of Project Mogul, a top-secret initiative that used high-altitude balloons to monitor Soviet nuclear tests. These revelations provided a possible explanation for the mysterious materials collected at the crash site, suggesting that what was found might have been part of this covert operation. Yet, even with this theory in hand, many remained unconvinced. The notion that advanced experimental technology could be misidentified by those familiar with military hardware became a point of contention among skeptics. The Roswell cover-up. A government misdirection or a genuine mistake. From the moment the U.S. Army abruptly reversed its claim about a flying disc and replaced it with the mundane explanation of a weather balloon, skepticism took root. Why would the military first declare they had recovered a flying disc, only to retract it hours later? This sudden shift in narrative raised more questions than it answered. To many observers, the inconsistency in the official statements suggested not an innocent mistake, but a deliberate attempt to suppress or mislead the public about what really happened at Roswell. Over the decades, the controversy only deepened as eyewitness accounts changed. Military officials gave conflicting testimonies, and previously classified projects like Project Mogul were revealed. The combination of these factors has led many to believe that Roswell was not just a misunderstanding, but one of the most significant cover-ups in U.S. history. Why did the military change its story? The key question at the heart of the Roswell mystery is why the U.S. Army issued a statement claiming to have recovered a flying disc in the first place, only to retract it within hours. There are three main theories that attempt to explain this. A genuine mistake, the official explanation. The most conventional explanation is that the military simply made an error in the initial press release. According to this theory, the why personnel at Roswell Army Airfield misidentified the debris as something extraordinary. In the rush to release a statement to the press, they inaccurately described the wreckage as a flying disc. Once higher-ranking officials at Fort Worth Army Airfield reviewed the material, they quickly corrected the mistake and provided the weather balloon explanation. While this might seem plausible on the surface, critics argue that the military rarely makes such careless public statements, especially concerning an object of national security interest. The Roswell Army Airfield was home to the 509th Bomb Group, the world's only nuclear-capable unit at the time. If any group of military personnel was well-trained to handle classified and sensitive materials, it was them. This raises an important counterpoint. How could intelligence officers mistake a simple weather balloon for something so extraordinary that they announced it as a flying disc? 2. Project Mogul, a classified operation or a convenient excuse. In 1994, nearly 50 years after the Roswell Incident, the U.S. government declassified information about Project Mogul, a top-secret initiative during the Cold War. Project Mogul was an operation that involved high-altitude balloons equipped with sensitive microphones designed to detect sound waves from Soviet nuclear tests. These balloons were constructed with radar reflectors made of unusual metallic foil, which some believe explains the debris Mac Brazel discovered, were highly classified, meaning the government had every reason to prevent their details from leaking to the public. Included experimental materials and sensors that could have seemed otherworldly to those unfamiliar with the project. According to the official revised history, The Roswell debris was not a normal weather balloon, but rather part of this classified surveillance program. The government's insistence that secrecy was necessary due to national security concerns seems like a reasonable explanation. However, critics of this theory argue that the Project Mogul explanation only emerged decades later, after years of public pressure and investigative journalism. Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer who handled the wreckage, later stated that the materials were far more advanced than anything man-made at the time. If it was simply a classified balloon project, why not just state that earlier, instead of creating an initial UFO frenzy? Skeptics believe that Project Mogul was a convenient cover story, not necessarily to hide extraterrestrial evidence, but to prevent the public from knowing about something even more sensitive. A deliberate cover-up? Was it really a UFO? One of the most enduring theories is that the government changed its story to cover up something truly extraordinary, possibly the crash of an extraterrestrial craft. Supporters of this idea point to several key factors that suggest a deeper conspiracy. The abrupt reversal. The military first confirmed the recovery of a flying disc before retracting the statement. This contradiction was never fully explained. Eyewitness accounts of otherworldly material. Multiple individuals who claim to have handled the debris, including Major Jesse Marcel, described it as lightweight, flexible, and resistant to damage, unlike anything used in conventional aircraft. Claims of recovered alien bodies. Some later reports suggested that a second crash site was discovered, where small humanoid bodies were allegedly recovered. Though these claims remain highly controversial, they have fueled persistent speculation. Government secrecy and intimidation. Some witnesses later claimed that they were threatened by military personnel and warned to stay silent about what they saw. While there is no conclusive evidence to support the extraterrestrial hypothesis, the government's own inconsistencies and contradictory explanations have kept the theory alive for decades. How the government's actions fueled conspiracy theories. Regardless of whether the Roswell event involved extraterrestrials, an experimental aircraft, or a Cold War surveillance project, the government's handling of the situation only deepened public suspicion. Several key missteps contributed to the belief that a cover-up was in play. The initial flying disc press release. The fact that the military itself made the first public claim about a flying disc raises eyebrows. If this had been an ordinary crash, why did they not verify the wreckage before issuing a statement? The lack of caution suggests either a genuine miscommunication or an attempt to test public reactions to a UFO-related announcement, possibly as a psychological operation, PSYOP. The immediate and total reversal. Rather than clarifying the KHSI situation gradually, the military completely changed its story within hours. Such a drastic reversal without a clear explanation gave the impression of a hasty cover-up, reinforcing the idea that something was being hidden. Conflicting testimonies from military officials. Over the years, multiple former military personnel, including Major Jesse Marcel, stated that the debris was not from a weather balloon. Their descriptions of advanced, seemingly indestructible material directly contradicted the official explanation. The destruction of key documents attempts to investigate the Roswell incident decades later were met with missing or destroyed government records. For instance, in response to Freedom of Information Act (FOIA) requests, the Air Force admitted that records from 1947 had been lost or destroyed, further fueling conspiracy theories. Why the truth remains elusive. The Roswell Incident remains one of the most famous and controversial UFO cases in history, precisely because the government's own actions created more questions than answers. Whether the truth involves a simple weather balloon, a classified military experiment, Project Mogul, an extraterrestrial crash, the reality is that the inconsistencies, secrecy, and conflicting testimonies have left the public permanently suspicious. Every unexplained detail, every lost document, and every witness account that contradicts the official story only deepens the mystery. Even today, the full truth about Roswell remains unknown, and as long as the government continues to withhold information, the speculation will never end. The Roswell incident didn't just spark a series of official investigations, it also ignited an entire subculture dedicated to the mysteries of extraterrestrial life. Following the initial shock and subsequent cover-up, reports of flying saucers and unexplained aerial phenomena began to flood in from around the world. Ordinary people, inspired by the strange events in New Mexico, started reporting their own encounters with unidentified objects in the sky. This surge of UFO sightings set off a cultural phenomenon that would forever alter how we view the cosmos and our place within it. Amid the growing frenzy, rumors began circulating about secretive government groups tasked with studying these phenomena. One of the most persistent of these was the myth of a clandestine body known as Majestic 12, a supposed elite committee operating behind the scenes to investigate and suppress evidence of alien encounters. While no definitive proof of such a group has ever been presented, the mere whisper of its existence fueled the imagination of UFO enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists alike. The idea that there could be an undisclosed organization controlling the flow of information only deepened suspicions and stoked the fires of intrigue. Parallel to these conspiracy theories was the enigmatic story of Area 51, a highly classified military facility that became synonymous with secret experiments and advanced technology. Many began to draw a direct connection between the events in Roswell and the mysterious operations at Area 51, speculating that the debris recovered in New Mexico could have been linked to experimental aircraft or even extraterrestrial technology. The notion that the government was hiding advanced otherworldly hardware in a secluded desert base became a cornerstone of UFO lore. This narrative not only bolstered public interest, but also led to countless investigations, films, and literature that continue to captivate audiences today. Roswell and the birth of the UFO craze, humanity's endless search for the unknown. The Roswell Incident did more than spark a local controversy. It catalyzed an enduring global obsession with UFOs and extraterrestrial life. The government's conflicting explanations, eyewitness testimonies, and the era's growing interest in space exploration created the perfect conditions for a cultural and psychological shift. Suddenly, UFOs were no longer confined to the realms of science fiction. They became a subject of serious discussion, government scrutiny, and public fascination. As new sightings emerged and government secrecy deepened, Roswell became a symbol of the unknown, the suppressed, and the potentially extraordinary. The mystery surrounding it has transcended mere curiosity. It has become part of a broader human narrative about our place in the universe. How Roswell fueled a cultural phenomenon. Roswell's story didn't remain a one-time event. It ignited an ongoing worldwide movement that continues to this day. Several key factors contributed to this phenomenon. The 1940s and 1950s, a post-war society primed for suspicion. The aftermath of World War II and the beginning of the Cold War played a crucial role in shaping the UFO craze. The late 1940s and early 1950s were a time of rapid technological advancements, e.g., the first jet-powered aircraft, early missile programs, nuclear weapons. Cold War paranoia about Soviet espionage, leading people to believe that unexplained aerial phenomena could be foreign surveillance. Distrust of the government, especially regarding secret military projects. Against this backdrop, Roswell wasn't just about aliens. It was about the possibility that the government was hiding something big. The secrecy surrounding advanced military technology blurred the line between real threats and imagined ones, making UFOs a perfect outlet for public fears and suspicions. The role of media in expanding the UFO craze. The press played a major role in amplifying the UFO mystery, turning isolated incidents into a full-fledged cultural movement. After Roswell, news outlets began covering other UFO sightings with increasing frequency, publishing sensationalized stories that blurred the line between fact and fiction, reporting on military secrecy, reinforcing the belief that the government was hiding something. Movies, books, and radio shows quickly capitalized on the growing public fascination with extraterrestrials. By the 1950s, Hollywood was producing major sci-fi films like The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951, and The War of the Worlds, 1953, further embedding UFOs into pop culture. These media depictions created a feedback loop. The more UFOs appeared in fiction, the more people believed they were real. The more people believed in UFOs, the more the media reported on sightings. This cycle transformed UFOs from a fringe belief into a mainstream cultural phenomenon. Every new site, leak, and cover-up strengthened the movement as time passed. The Roswell mystery refused to fade. Every time an official report was released, a new piece of leaked information or a new eyewitness testimony would challenge the government's narrative. This constant back and forth deepened public mistrust and fueled further speculation. 1950s, 1960s. A wave of UFO sightings across the US and other countries convinced many that extraterrestrials were watching Earth. 1970s. Former military personnel, including Major Jesse Marcel, began contradicting the official weather balloon explanation, reviving interest in Roswell. 1980s, 1990s. Leaked documents, alleged whistleblowers, and the rise of investigative journalism strengthened the idea that the government was actively hiding the truth. 2000s present. Advanced technologies like the internet, declassified UFO files, and viral videos, e.g., the 2017 Pentagon UFO footage, kept the debate alive. Each of these moments added new layers to the Roswell narrative. The more the government tried to explain it away, the more people suspected a larger conspiracy was at play. The psychological appeal. Why do we want to believe? At its core, the Roswell mystery speaks to deeper human desires and fears. People are naturally drawn to the idea of UFOs for several reasons. The need for answers. Humans have always looked to the skies for meaning. Since ancient times, we have questioned, are we alone in the universe? If aliens exist, what do they want? Have they visited us before? The idea that Roswell might hold the key to these questions keeps people engaged. Even without direct evidence, the possibility alone is too fascinating to ignore. The allure of the forbidden and hidden. There is a psychological thrill in believing that secret knowledge is being kept from the public. Many people are drawn to UFO theories because they tap into a distrust of authority, the belief that governments lie to maintain power, the excitement of uncovering a hidden truth, solving a mystery that others dismiss. In this way, Roswell functions much like ancient myths and religious texts. It provides a narrative that challenges established authority and offers an alternative truth. Fear of the unknown. UFOs also play into existential fears about the unknown. What if aliens are watching us? What if they have superior technology? What if the government knows and is keeping us in the dark? These fears can manifest in different ways. Some people are excited by the possibility of extraterrestrial contact, while others see it as a threat to humanity's survival. Roswell's legacy, a never-ending debate. The Roswell Incident isn't just an isolated event. It's a cultural phenomenon that has shaped the way we think about UFOs, government secrecy, and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. It has left behind a powerful legacy: the creation of modern UFO culture. Before Roswell, UFOs were largely a science fiction trope. After Roswell, they became a legitimate subject of debate, research, and government investigation. Government acknowledgement of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. Decades later, the Pentagon has admitted to studying unexplained aerial objects. Programs like AATIP, Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, and the 2021 UAP report to Congress suggest that even governments take UFOs seriously. A never-ending cycle of belief and skepticism. Every few years, new evidence, declassified documents, or eyewitness accounts reignite the debate. Even if Roswell was a case of mistaken identity, the belief that something is being hidden will never fully disappear. Conclusion. Wonder and controversy in equal measure. The Roswell UFO incident is more than just a mystery. It is a symbol of humanity's eternal search for answers. It reflects our desire to understand the unknown, fascination with government secrecy, enduring belief that we are not alone in the universe. Even if the true nature of what happened in Roswell remains unknown, its impact is undeniable. The event helped shape the modern UFO movement, sparked a permanent debate about extraterrestrial life, and reinforced the idea that the truth may be out there, but not necessarily in the hands of those who control the narrative. And as long as people continue to question, to seek, and to wonder, the legacy of Roswell will never fade. In 1994, the U.S. Air Force released a report that offered an official explanation for the mysterious debris, suggesting that what had been recovered were nothing more than remnants from crash test dummies and weather balloons used in secretive projects. This account was designed to put an end to the swirling theories that had taken root in the public mind. However, despite the detailed report, doubts remained among UFO enthusiasts, who felt that such explanations barely scratched the surface of the incident's true nature. Fast forward to the 21st century, and the narrative of government secrecy around UFOs began to shift once again. In 2017, and later in 2023, a series of Pentagon disclosures and whistleblower accounts emerged, reigniting the debate over unidentified aerial phenomena. These modern revelations brought forward testimonies from individuals who claimed firsthand knowledge of unexplained encounters and programs that had been hidden from public view. The new wave of disclosures painted a picture of a government that was not only aware of these mysterious crafts, but according to some accounts was actively studying them. Among the most provocative voices to emerge in recent times was David Grush, a whistleblower who asserted that there have been programs dedicated to retrieving non-human craft. His testimony reignited fierce debates, challenging the established narratives and suggesting that there might be more to these phenomena than mere misidentified technology. Grush's claims, while controversial, added fuel to the long-standing conversation about extraterrestrial visitation and the possibility that governments have long concealed evidence of encounters with technologies not of this world. The ongoing search for the truth, secrecy, disclosure, and the future of UFO research. The question of what really happened at Roswell and what it represents in the larger context of UFO research remains unresolved. The decades following the initial 1947 event have been marked by a back-and-forth struggle between government disclosure and public skepticism. Every official explanation seems to raise more questions than it answers, and every new leak or testimony adds fuel to the fire of conspiracy theories. As we move further into the 21st century, three key forces continue to shape the UFO debate. The government's changing narrative. From denial to acknowledgement. For decades, the U.S. government dismissed UFOs as misidentified natural phenomena, experimental aircraft, or outright hoaxes. However, recent developments suggest a shift in how authorities handle the topic. 1994, the Air Force's final report on Roswell officially concluded that the debris found in 1947 came from Project Mogul, a secret Cold War-era program using high-altitude balloons to detect Soviet nuclear tests. While this explanation addressed some inconsistencies, it did not satisfy those who believed a cover-up was at play. 2017. The Pentagon acknowledges the existence of a secret UFO study program, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. ATIP was revealed to the public, proving that the U.S. government had been secretly studying UFOs, now rebranded as UAPs or unidentified aerial phenomena. Declassified videos of UAPs, recorded by military pilots, showed objects moving in ways that defied known physics, reviving serious interest in UFO research. 2023. Present. Whistleblower claims and congressional hearings. Former government insiders, including David Grush, claimed that the U.S. possesses retrieved non-human spacecraft and has been engaged in decades-long programs to study and reverse engineer alien technology. In response, Congress held multiple hearings, pressing intelligence officials to increase transparency on UAPs. Each of these disclosures shattered the old narrative that UFOs were mere science fiction. Instead, they suggested that something is being studied, and possibly concealed, at the highest levels of government. The role of public pressure and independent investigations. While the government controls much of the classified information on UAPs, independent researchers, journalists, and civilian organizations have played a crucial role in keeping the debate alive. Freedom of Information Act (FOIA) requests. Persistent efforts by researchers have forced the government to release documents related to UFO sightings, exposing inconsistencies in official explanations. Scientific studies and private sector involvement. Organizations like the Galileo Project, Harvard-led initiative to study UAPs scientifically, and private aerospace firms have stepped in to analyze unidentified aerial phenomena using modern technology. Advances in artificial intelligence, satellite tracking, and sensor networks are helping independent groups monitor the skies, reducing reliance on government disclosures. Media and public engagement. The explosion of social media and investigative journalism has made it harder for authorities to control the narrative. Mainstream news outlets now report on UAPs seriously, rather than dismissing them as fringe theories. These combined efforts have put unprecedented pressure on governments worldwide to acknowledge and address the UFO phenomenon openly. 3. The fundamental question: what is really being hidden? Despite increasing transparency, the most important questions remain unanswered. If UAPs are merely advanced human technology, why not disclose that openly? If extraterrestrial craft have been recovered, where is the evidence? Are UAPs a national security threat, and if so, what actions are being taken? Some researchers argue that the secrecy surrounding UFOs is not necessarily about hiding extraterrestrials, but about concealing cutting-edge military technology, perhaps from adversaries like China and Russia. Others, however, believe the lack of full disclosure points to something even more profound: evidence of non-human intelligence. Whether the truth is mundane or extraordinary, it is clear that we are at a turning point in the UFO debate. Conclusion: is the truth within our reach? The Roswell incident may have ignited the UFO phenomenon, but the search for answers has only accelerated in the modern era. The government's evolving stance, the rise of independent investigations, and the growing body of declassified evidence suggest that we are closer than ever to understanding the reality of UAPs. However, the tension between official narratives and public belief continues to fuel suspicion. As scientific advancements and public pressure push for greater transparency, we are left with a crucial question: are we on the verge of uncovering the truth about UAPs, or will secrecy continue to obscure what lies beyond our understanding? For now, the mystery remains, and the quest for answers continues. As our journey through the decades of mystery and intrigue draws to a close, we're left with two distinct narratives. On one side is the belief in deliberate government secrecy, a cover-up that hides the truth of extraterrestrial encounters and advanced otherworldly technology. On the other is the argument for more mundane explanations: misidentified military, experiments and secret projects that, while fascinating, remain firmly within the realm of human innovation. Yet, regardless of which interpretation resonates with you, the legacy of Roswell endures. It has transcended its origins as a single incident to become a powerful cultural phenomenon, a symbol of humanity's enduring quest for answers about our place in the universe and the hidden truths of our government. So, as we wrap up this exploration, I leave you with one final question. Was Roswell truly a cover-up, or just a misunderstood military project? Let me know in the comments below.